and welcome aboard the Citymapper smartbus. This is CMS 3, and we're currently, where are we? Near Haddisfield's Blackfriars Farringdon area. And this is London's first smartbus. It is really kind of a test for Citymapper. It's more of a tech test rather than a marketing thing. We've got a lot of technology on the bus that is trying to work out live ETAs, live traffic, and what we would call kind of the full bus technology stack, which is everything from organising buses, scheduling buses, and routing buses effectively. So we have software that allows us to design the routes that we run. We have live traffic update coming into the bus to tell us what the latest ETA is, and that ETA is based on live traffic on the route. So it's much more sort of accurate and better for passenger experience. And obviously, you know, the bus is green, so there's that. We have three seats and stuff.
You also have chargers, I can see.
We have seat back chargers, yes, which even support USB-C, which I want to point out as being very popular. So yeah, technically I suppose you could hot desk on the bus. But so this is just a short route for us. It's small and kind of compact. We've got 3 buses running on it. And that allows us to test everything from passenger counting technology through to sort of our GPS technology and stuff like that before we start doing other more experimental routes around the city. And we're also partnering and working with TFL on future routes as well. As you've probably seen from our Medium posts and stuff, where we have some larger buses that we're looking to try on other routes as well. So for now it's free because we're an app company trying to do bus, and the chances of it going wrong were always slightly high. So yeah, this is what I classify as a solid beta release.
And just for 2 days?
Just for the 2 days, yesterday and tomorrow. 7 till 7 I think it is, every day. And then we'll be sort of looking at that data, we'll be figuring out what we can learn from it. We'll be iterating, and then we'll be back with something else with a slightly more version 2. That's the idea really, we're trying to iterate.
So I work in rail. I'm doing a bit of a
recce.
Yeah. Well, I'm going through a very sort of relevant project at the moment, looking at specifically passenger information.
Okay.
And you know, how the whole world of passenger information and passenger communication can be improved. There are lots of sort of disparate channels and sources of information. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Sort of consolidating and improving, future-proofing, sort of bringing rail a little bit more into the 21st century. So it's really interesting. So is there anything sort of, I mean obviously you've kind of got the EIS screens there.
Yeah.
Is there anything else sort of in the world of passenger information that you
Again,
would envisage this evolving into? And
the thing for us when we were sort of launching this first version is that none of the technology that you see is bespoke, effectively. I mean, the stack is,
yeah,
the code behind it, but you know, the kit is stuff that's readily available, so you can we can scale and we can experiment with it. So these are relatively standard bus screens, but we're trying to it's the content that we're trying to experiment with at this stage, and then maybe we'll try bigger screens and smaller screens and switch it up. And we can do that if you're buying stuff that's more off the shelf. Yeah, I mean, so we've designed the screens at the moment with the priority on just trying to show off GPS positioning, next stop display, ETAs. The interesting thing with this is if the bus goes off diversion, we show a full map. We have well at the moment Bussy the bus is happy because he's driving and he's on his route. If he's in the depot, he's asleep. But if he's off his route, you just get a full map and he'll look confused, and he will try and figure out where the next route's going to be, and then it will snap to that. So yeah, we're just kind of trying to experiment with that. We're also trying to, it's just kind of, I think, important in terms of the customer experience. that to try and translate customer experience beyond the technology is kind of hard because it's a bus, right? So I can vinyl a bus and I can sort of change the seats, but it's still a bus, okay? So whether that works on demand response or whatever, it's still a bus. The difference is that the driver is really important. The driver is kind of central to customer experience. The driver can give you a good drive and give you a bad drive, but he's also responsible for, say, like the life of 20 people on the bus. So we're rebranding them as heroes. We consider them heroes for public transit. They get hundreds of people around the city every day, you know, without having to spend huge amounts of money. It's very sort of, you know, utopic to do that. But also, we also are working on this on driver technology, on the idea that if the driver is more aware of his surroundings and his route, maybe he's able to make better judgment decisions than someone in a central communications hub would be able to. So giving them the understanding of what the bus is in front and behind, how busy that is, the timings involved, where they are in a map if there is a diversion, stuff like that, is that if we enable the driver, they feel more confident in what they're doing, and therefore their experience is better, therefore the customer experience is better, and then everyone gets where they want to go informed and up to date. So while we do have the screen, which is great at doing sort of information, the driver is also a great source of information too, but he only knows what he knows, and we want to give him as much as we can give him.
Yeah. So what's the driver got that any other bus driver might not have?
So the driver at the moment, this is an area that we're kind of moving into. At the moment, we're just like, he can log in effectively, and we know where he is, and we can send him messaging. But we're then going to start moving into two-way messaging. So it's kind of, I suppose, like WhatsApp for bus drivers. But obviously only when he stops. So we use the accelerometer, so it's not a distraction. We can also show him live traffic updates, so he can work out whether his headway, if he knows that he's, say, behind by 2 minutes or ahead by 2 minutes, he knows that with the traffic coming up, whether he should slow down or whether he should bypass a stop. And you'll also know whether the bus is behind have got passengers on or not. Something which, you know, a central controller may not know. So it's trying to give them information, but trying to work out what's relevant information for them that's going to improve their experience and the passenger experience. And not make them feel more like they're an automaton, which is just following a beeping thing. And when you're going faster, you don't stop. So they're often best placed to call in, say for example, accidents or road traffic problems.
Very similar to trains. The driver is often the first
person on the scene. But what we also want to do is we want to be able to allow him to adapt the bus, like what's happening to that, rather than waiting for a controller to give them a decision, because sometimes that's the difference between being stuck or not.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
And I think it's working out where that balance sits, really. That's the thing. The screens in mass transit communicate that to an extent, but we kind of want to bring that more into the driver realm and allow the screens to kind of reflect it as well.
That's really cool. Do you have anything to do sort of passenger counting or busyness measurement, either from outside, you know, got any intentions around bus stops or actually on board?
Kind of try and tie that in with the app in some way, although that's not as kind of as broad as you'd want for mass transit. We are running some passenger counting above the door there, which runs an infrared camera. Which that sort of checks in and checks out, and it's got a very, very high accuracy rate because of how it works. And that is then pulled through kind of to the router, and then that's synced with our stack at the other end, so we can see what that is, and then we can break down busyness into sort of seating available, no seating available, and totally full. And the idea is if we have that information, the passenger can make a decision whether they get on or off, but the driver can also decide whether he should let people on or off as well, and the driver behind can figure that out as well.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care. Good luck.
So we'll be
I think it's, we're still live.
Are you recording live?
Yeah, it's just for me, but
Is
I
this
can
for
send you
you?
the link.
Okay, yeah, please do.
I'm very active on social media.
Oh, nice. Can you send me a link? Please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. Can I also make a short interview for you?
Sure.